Hello everyone and welcome to the LivABLE Environments Conference happening between October 28th and the 30th, 2020. 2020 has been a crazy year, I know, with COVID, and this is why we're here virtually. My name is Groe. I'm here to tell you all about the team, the tools, and the future. So let's get right into it. I want to welcome everyone, all the architects, occupational therapists, designers, decorators, everyone who is interested in supporting those individuals with accessibility needs, aging in place, living in place, which is very important for all ages, from our youth right up to our aging members of society. So I'm going to get right into it. Why is it so important to have a team? Well, it is. Like any other team out there, hockey, soccer, football, there are positions, and those positions are there to help the team succeed. And this is what we're doing here as well. Please don't forget that there's a sum of all parts that come and make any project that we do, from a renovation to a complete build, that really make the end product successful for the client for today, tomorrow, and 15, 20 years down the road. So we need to dive right into who is it that we want as part of a team. So the primary person is the end user or the caregiver, the family member who has sought out our team in order to get the results. They don't know. We're in a reactionary market where most people don't do any modification or complete any modifications or accessibility changes to their home unless they need it. So it's not like they're walking down in a shopping mall and say, hey, honey, let's go into that store that has all these stair glides or assistive devices. People just don't do that. It's a reactionary market, so we have to be prepared. We have to give them the tools so that we can then proceed and give them exactly what they require. So options. So as the end user is looking for us, we have to make sure that that end user can be the referral source, which could be a healthcare practitioner. It can be the family member caregiver, which could be a son, a daughter, a husband and wife, an aunt, an uncle, grandchild, whomever it may be, or a really concerned neighbor. So if that's the case, we have to empower them to help make the right decision for themselves or the person they're caring for. So who do we start off with? Typically, it's the occupational therapist. What is an OT? Well, OT is not overtime. Even though we're putting it in these days, it's not overtime, but the OTs do put in overtime when it comes to your safety. So who are these OTs? What do they do? Well, in my field, I call them the functional gurus. They understand how a person interacts with all environments. And those environments are the home, the workplace, and the common areas of society. You know, shopping malls, roadways, walkways, whatever it may be. They understand how these spaces, environments interact with the person's ability to be safe. So where do we fit in? The home. So these occupational therapists are able to go in, assess these clients that we have to determine what status they are at in terms of completing their activities of daily living. ADL for short, hence our name, Accessible Daily Living, my company. We've done that on purpose to make people in the industry, especially occupational therapists, understand where we are as a company and in terms of providing them the resources required. So an occupational therapist is your primary member, where I believe where it begins, the whole premise of how we proceed to providing our clients an accessible environment. So they're able to address entry into the home, the safety of all levels, travel between levels, how they're engaging specific areas of the home, the bathroom, the most dangerous part of the room, the kitchen, where we go to eat, the dining room table, where we go to eat as well, and also the living spaces, where we go and relax and how we interact with the rest of our family. One of the things we have to pay attention to is how we look at family dynamic and the person, and the OT is so crucial in that perspective. So please, in any event, the occupational therapist, as I say, I heart OTs because they are the foundation of what we are looking for in terms of support for our clients. Next, we have to develop what I consider the construction or project management team. That will entail an architect or an engineer, structural, mechanical, electrical, and also a designer, a decorator. What's the difference between a designer and a decorator? Well, the designer helps with interaction of spaces, where a decorator really looks at the final pieces. It could be a couch, it could be a chair. They could work with the occupational therapist and determine what type of furniture is best, where it's beautiful, nice to look at, but also functional and safe for the client. So for our designers and decorators, you are also very important to our environment. Well, I just had a situation where I had to engage a designer and a decorator with respect to some backyard space, exterior space for our client. They have a young child who's got a disability and they want to create a fun place, obviously due to COVID, and stay home. So they want an accessible pool with a hot tub. Bam, what happened? Got the decorator involved, got the designer, already got the functional information from the occupational therapist, and bam, we got it done. We got a great design provided by the designer with accents provided by the decorator specifically for the clients, and we had a winning combination. These are the type of circumstances where we can all come together. A team is not made of just the forward or just the goalie. We need a defenseman. We need the coach. We need the support system. So please, let's work together. If you can take anything from what I've said today, is that we need to work together. We need to be supportive of one another and understand each other's role. As for an engineer, I can go to Tim and say, Tim, look, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, they want to take down this wall. Can it be done? He goes, John, if we do X, Y, and Z and provide the supports, yes, we can, and take that barrier of that wall away as well. I'm not an engineer. An occupational therapist is not an engineer. And when we have the support of an experienced professional, we should lean on them so that we can come up with the best possible decision. It may be that we have an idea for the space and it can't come to life. We need to make sure that we are able to work together and get the right message out to the client. So talk to each other. Communication is key. So what do we have from our team? I've discussed the occupational therapist. I've discussed the role of the designer and the decorator and how important it is to have them involved. As much as we want to create a functional space, we've gone away from the time of having things look institutional and having things look like we haven't stepped out of a hospital or some kind of controlled setting where long-term care facility. Right now, more than ever before, people are afraid to be in retirement facilities or long-term care, and they're bringing their family members home. And the last thing they want is to have their homes look institutional. Hence, the support of our decorators and our designers. They will make our spaces look beautiful and help them be functional based on support of the occupational therapist. Our architects and engineers are there to obviously tell us, are we meeting building code? Are we being accurate with regards to what needs to be done to these environments? So please, the whole team, if we go down the list, and our nice contractors, hey, that's where I'm at, right here. So part and parcel of what I do is I'm an accessibility consultant and a contractor. My specialties lie within completing environments that are safe and accessible. And it's not just putting a bathroom an X and putting a lift or an elevator in this spot. I have to make sure that the space is functional for everybody, because if you have wife, and we'll call wife Kimberly, and Kimberly has a home office and we're making the home accessible for her husband, and we take the space of her home office, well, guess what? Kim can't work. So let's pay attention to our clients, contractors. Don't just go out there and just think, oh, we're going to put stuff here, we're going to put stuff there. Think through it. Be very considerate of who is living in the home at the time, because sometimes, actually more often than not, you're going to be that first contact with the client along with the occupational therapist. So if that's the case, ask the right questions. Have it part of your Q&A period with your client when you attend for your first meeting. Look at the home, ask who lives there, ask the right questions, ask what parts of the house are being used for. And if there is a renter, you don't want to maybe even disturb the fact that there is a renter in the home, and that any of the modifications or changes in the home may affect them obviously getting money that they probably need in order to live. So, and obviously uprooting just the family and a renter can be costly to all individuals. So let's be cognizant about these opportunities, and about how the family dynamic works and how the environment dynamic works as well. So what do we get from today? That we need a team, and the team wins championships, and in this case, you will have a successful project. Okay? Everyone, we're now leading into the next part of my presentation, and that is the tools. Now, You're probably going to say, what are the tools? Are they a saw? Are they a vertical lift? Is it an elevator? Is it a goniometer for an occupational therapist? I bet you OTs didn't think I knew that. It's not an easel or any type of drafting table for you architects or engineers. That's not what I'm talking about. The tools that we need is each other and education. Hence why we're all here. We're here at the Livable Environments Conference to learn from each other. So pay attention to all of the different individuals who are talking, professionals who are bringing to light exactly what needs to be brought to the attention of the entire group. And that is more information. Make yourself more informed. You don't need me to tell you what a vertical platform lift is or what a stair glide. You can go on Google. Google is easy. Google's not paying me for this, but I'm going to give you the information. Go online, type in the next generation of what is out there. I'm telling you, we don't need the tools that we rely on today are each other. And the tools that are out there are also educational opportunities. Livable Environments has started. There is the CLIP course, a Certified Living in Place Professional that is being provided. Please follow through. Follow the links. There's going to be all kinds throughout the day in the, obviously, Livable Environments Conference website. There's so many resources out there, so pay attention. There's also the CAPS course, Certified AG in Place Specialist, provided through the NAHB in the US and the CHBA in Canada. That's Canadian Home Builders Association. And that is an entry-level access to what needs to be known in order to get involved. And I know the term is aging in place, but it supports everyone, from anyone, from a pediatric to an aging population. So please, those are certain courses that you need to be obviously aware of. There are other schools, Ryerson University in Toronto, that offers the AODA courses. Now that deals specifically with the commercial environments and public spaces, but that's fine, but it'll give you a foundation of what is required to understand not just the built environment, which we're all a part of, but how we can also be better off as individuals of how we provide our customer service. We all own businesses here, or we work for someone who owns a business. So making yourself obviously certified and accredited in some of these programs and courses will benefit you down the road. It will just add to who you are as an individual who wants to support individuals who are disabled or aging in place or living in place, as we like to say here at Livable Environments and through the CLIP course. So please, these are courses. Another one is the USC, University of Southern California, and is the Executive Home Modification Program, and it's a certification provided through the Leonard Davis School of Gerontology. Another opportunity, a 5-month program that will dive right into the needs of individuals who require accessibility changes to their home. Now, I know it's a US-based course, but the premise around accessibility is the same. They do offer understanding of what it is to engage and investigate funding resources in the US, but guess what? Yours truly and the University of Southern California are working on a Canadian product. So stay tuned. Follow Livable Environments as Linda Kafka and her group will provide updates as they become available of this course becoming a certified program here in Canada through the University of Southern California, more specifically the Leonard Davis School of Gerontology. So what have I come through today is that I haven't touched upon a specific tool like a hammer or a drill, but you are all the tools that are required in order for a project to become successful. So please rely on each other, communicate with each other. If you are not part of any specific group, become a part of your local building association through the Canadian Home Builders Association, if at all possible. I know it does cost to be a part of a membership, but it's better to be a part of membership to give you exposure to other professionals, renovators, that will be able to help out your clients. So as an individual, like an occupational therapist, like a designer, an architect, a decorator, having access to these renovators is so important. Bringing that project to life and having it completed is so, we are in a position where we need to have more access to these renovators. And this is what we're trying to create. This is what we're doing here today. And that is creating awareness. The tool of bringing people together is the most important. that we are trying to achieve together. Linda Kafka and the Livable Environments Conference have done a great job of bringing people together, so that we can all learn from each other. With the great minds that are out there who have spoken to you today, have provided their insight on safety and accessibility, is probably the best information and the best notch in your belt you can have after leaving today. The tools of knowing who is out there that you can use as a resource. Now, that's a key word. And I've been speaking about resource for the longest time with my staff as well. If you are an individual who can network, fantastic. Once you are a resource, you're indispensable. So learn, meet new people. We have great sponsors who are here, just like the great people from American Standard and Healthcraft Envisia. Learn from John O'Brien. Learn from individuals like Joe Delarose of American Standard, so that you can get the knowledge base with regards to the actual equipment and products that they sell. It's so important. So once you become that information specialist, the person who's gone out there and learned and knows who John Groe is, knows who Linda Kafka is, Thea Curdy, who's here, obviously, and I'm tickled pink about that because I've been following Thea forever. And once you have these people in your group where you can communicate with each other, it lends to you being a resource, because if you don't have the answer, you're going to go out and you're going to go find it. And that's the important part of being a resource. That's probably the second best tool you could have, is to be obviously a person who can direct or delegate a project and get the right people involved. That's what's made me successful. And what I've done is the fact that I know I don't have all the answers. The answers don't lie in just what I do every day. It's the fact that I do look at the value of an occupational therapist, of another renovator or contract who may have been involved in a project that's much more complicated and invasive than I've ever been involved in. But that's great, because we're all here to learn for each other. So note that once you become a resource and you build that up, you'll be indispensable, and you'll be such an important part of the greater picture moving down the road. And we need more people. This is in an area where we had a few years ago, we had a meeting, and it was American Standard who brought this to our attention. We are now on the tipping scales of not building new homes, we're renovating more than what we're building. So if that's the case, we need renovators and contractors out there. We need designers, architects, occupational therapists, familiar with the existing footprint we have and housing stock we have that is in Canada. So the more familiar you are with that, the more you've taken that in, the faster we can go out there and support and promote Livable Environments Conference, promote the group that's created this movement, and be at the forefront and the pioneers in creating a change and a movement for accessibility and living in place, aging in place, across the board. So what have I blabbed so far? Hopefully you've learned something of what I've just said. And that is that we are the tool. We are also the resource. But there's one other important part. Before we actually even get to the point of bringing that design to reality or completing it or doing the physical work, the construction and changing the environment, is some people just don't have the financial means and the wherewithal to get these projects done. Funding is such an important part. And there are individuals, and the term is, most people use this term, and I've heard it before, you have to be rich to be disabled. And in some cases, you do, because the cost of these modifications are absorbent, and it's an invasive work, and it's not getting any cheaper. The cost of labor is going up. The cost of material, even now due to COVID, is the inability to have stock in place is causing prices to go up. It's not fair, and it's making the construction of these projects very expensive. So part of our job is to look at financial outs for these kinds. Yeah, there's funding sources, but these funding sources are limited and they don't offer a lot of money. We're trying to make that change. We're trying to work with governments, local, federal, and provincial governments to bring more awareness to the importance of having more funding available for individuals who require these accessible environments, not because it's a want, because it's a need. They need to be safe. We want to keep them safe, and we want them to be an integral part of our communities, of our society. They have a lot to give. I know. I have a daughter with a disability. She has a lot to give. She wants to be a part of it, and Dad's taken the necessary steps to making our home accessible. But that's because she lives with someone who has the means to do so. Not everybody has that, and we have an opportunity, and it's part of our obligation and responsibility as individuals in this community to bring more awareness. So it's not just waiting for that paycheck and going out there and saying, oh, I can create that design for you. Oh, I can build that bathroom for you. You need to be a part of that resolve and be a part of the solution. Look for funding resources that may be available to individuals. Reverse mortgages, home equity line of home equity line of credit. There are also ability to actually use financial tools such as loans. There are companies out there that do it, like Finance It, like Health Smart. You can go to your local bank if you have the means to do so to get a loan specific to modifications. But we need the support of the total team, of the community, to bring awareness that these modifications are costly, and we all need to work together to make these projects and these individuals safe. Okay, so what have we learned? Again, we have learned about our team. We've learned about the tools, and I haven't touched upon the tools of a drill or a saw or a hammer. We don't want that. The tool is you. Part of the tool is you being the resource, and part of that is also knowing how to support the client with regards to financial support with respect to the project. What are we on to next? The future. What does the future bring for us with respect to accessibility? There's a lot of unknowns, but there's a lot of great stuff that's happening. We talk about smart home technology. That's the future. It will take the steps out of a task, which is part of what accessibility is how do we remove the steps in a task to make it safer and less impactful and individual, make it more tolerant, make it easier to complete. That's what we're doing every day. So when you're stepping into that situation, know that that's what we're doing. Smart home technology has come such a long way, from doorbells to cameras to light switches to how they interact with our internet and our Wi-Fi that make it so much easier. I had a client appointment the other day, a great client, met with him and his daughter, widowed individual. He wants to keep his independence. He's in a wheelchair, spinal cord injury. And what happens? He looks at me and goes, John, I have everything that is what we consider traditional about accessibility. He has his elevator, has a vertical lift in from the garage, has a roll-in shower, but he wants a smart home technology. We sat down, we talked about how he was really nervous and frustrated every time he needed to shut off a light. His daughter would be out, and she's entitled. She's going out with her friends, still wearing a mask, by the way, but she's going out. And what does he do? He has to physically move with his wheelchair, go flip the switch, where that was not necessary. He could use his iPhone. He could use voice activated. We live in that environment. You know, there's Amazon and Amazon Alexa, and Google Nest that offer these interfaces, these platforms that are so inexpensive in order to access light switches by Wemo Belkin. These things have dimmer responses. They can shut on and off. You can use voice activation. Hey, Alexa, shut off the bedroom light. Lights are gone. Hey, Alexa, you check the screen, please see camera on driveway. Comes the screen, he sees the camera on the driveway, knows that his daughter just got home from being out with her friends. It's peace of mind. It's taking the steps out of the task. This is where we have to move. And please, when it comes to accessibility, don't just think it's mobility. It's not just about the physical deficits. We're here, we have to service the non-visible disability population as well. We have the cognitive impairments. We have the behavioral and developmental. Look, right now, more than ever before, there are more kids born with autism than ever before, and there's a need. We have to be there for the parents. We just finished helping out a family with 2 boys who are autistic. We finished off the bathroom, make it safe and accessible, but also brilliant and bright. The colors were really natural. They made them feel comfortable. The basement was finally made accessible so that they can complete treatment for their children. So just don't think of accessibility as something for individuals with a physical disability. This is greater than that. So we're becoming smarter, we're becoming more in tune to the different needs of the different populations. And that's coming from information that we're getting from medical doctors, innovators, practitioners that are telling us more about these disabilities, more about the impairments that are related to these disabilities. So be a part of that forum. If I can engage everyone, is being a part of conferences just like the Livable Environments Conference is so important to our future and how we shape what we do next in accessibility. You may be the next person who revolutionizes a new product, a new system, a new software that is used for our future clients. And we all need to be on the same page when it comes to that. Look, there are changes that we can't control as we go forward when it comes to the lifestyles of individuals. All we can do is take what we have from today and make it better. Let's not repeat the steps and the mistakes made in the past. We're here to work together. So when we're looking at the future, educate yourself about what's happening next. Be a part of, again, conferences and events just like this. Look forward to being a part of a community that will help us bring forward. Get involved with organizations that will allow you to be a part of the next step, the pathway of creating more accessible environments. The tools are so important. The education system is very, very important to us now to move forward to create a better future for our clients. And really, what the next step is to look at governments. And I'm going to implore every one of you to get involved. Contact your local MPP, your local MP. Send a letter to your provincial premiers. Send a letter to our Prime Minister. We need to change the way we look at accessibility. It is not a niche market, as Linda Kafka says. It's not niche. 1 in 7 in this country has a disability. Soon it'll be 1 in 5. I don't know how that's a niche market. We're growing every day where there's more and more people who are turning age 65 or older, becoming seniors, and they will have a disability. They will have an impairment. It's just the way it is. Unfortunate, but we have to be prepared. So don't look at it. So we need to be a part of the change. And the future is important in terms of bringing this education to our local, provincial, and federal governments so that they are aware of what the change should be so that they can take care of the constituents. Not everyone's going to go live in a long-term care facility or retirement home. People want to stay at home. How are we a part of keeping people at home? You need to be a part of that change. So do I. So do our government. So with that, I'm going to thank everybody for being a part of today, listening to me talk. Hopefully you've taken some things of what I've said. Hopefully you've appreciated what I've brought to the table, and hopefully you will continue to be a part of this group here at the Livable Environments Conference. You were part of the first one. Stay for the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. It's only going to get better. We wish you all a wonderful day. Please comment below. Give me your questions. I'll do my best to answer your questions. Thank you, everyone. Have a blessed day.